If you took the real reasons you go to food quiz this week, and thank you, seriously, it takes courage to look honestly at your own patterns. And I want to make sure you know how to read what came back. Because here's what I don't want. I don't want you to look at your results thinking, great, now I have a list of everything wrong with me. That's not what the quiz is for. What you have is a map, and today I want to help you read it. Before we go anywhere near what's loud for you right now, I want to talk about something else in your results. Somewhere in there are things you marked, I used to, not anymore. I want you to stop and look at those for a second. That is not a small thing. That is your brain already having rewired. That is neuroplasticity that has already happened in you in this lifetime around this exact thing we're working on. The same capacity that shifted those patterns is exactly what's available for the ones that are still loud. Your brain has proven it can do this. That's not nothing. That's everything. The quiz maps to 6 pattern families, and most people light up in 2 or 3 of them, which makes complete sense because your nervous system learned to use food in multiple ways for multiple reasons. Let me walk you through each one so you can quickly orient yourself. The first is the foundation builders. This is the food story that started early, before you had language, before you had choice. Food got wired in as comfort, reward, love. It's not your fault. It was installed. The second is the chemistry lab. Your volume knob is turned up higher than average. You feel everything more intensely, and food became a reliable way to turn the volume down. This shows up as sensitivity, as anxiety, as emotions that feel too big for the container. The third is the emotional support specialist. Food became the friend who was always there. It doesn't judge. It doesn't leave. It doesn't require you to explain yourself. This is the alarmed aloneness pattern, activated and alone with food as the most reliable companion. The fourth is the internal advisory board. Your head is loud with competing voices. The rebel, the manager, the indulger, the protector, all fighting for control. Diet cycling lives here. So does the exhausting internal committee meeting that happens every time food is involved. The fifth is the external influence network. Your environment is running your eating. Triggers in places, people, situations. The sight of food, the smell of it, the social pressure of being around others eating. Your internal wisdom gets overridden before you even have a chance to hear it. And the sixth, and this is my favorite, is the awakening observers. These are the already rewired wins, the places where you can see what's happening, where the observer is awake and growing. If you have these lighting up, celebrate them. They're proof of everything we're talking about here. What your loudest family is telling you. So here's how to actually use this. Find your loudest family, the 1 or 2 where you have the most often and almost always responses. That's not your problem. That's your nervous system's most well-worn path to relief. And the question isn't, how do I stop this pattern? The question is, what does this pattern tell me about my nervous system? What does this pattern tell me about what my nervous system has needed and what it might need instead? A foundation builder needs to understand that early wiring is real and not their fault, and that new wiring is possible. A chemistry lab person needs to know their sensitivity is an asset, not a liability, and that there are other ways to turn the volume down besides food. An emotional support specialist needs real accompaniment, humans who can be with them in the hard moments, so food doesn't have to be the only companion. An internal advisory board person needs their parts to start talking to each other instead of fighting. The rebel and the manager need to understand they're on the same team. An external influence network person needs to understand what's actually triggering them and build the gap between trigger and response. And an awakening observer needs to keep doing exactly what they're doing because the noticing is the work. our bridge to Saturday. This is exactly what we're going to work with on Saturday. Not a meal plan, not a list of foods, a plan that's built from your actual data, your loudest patterns, your nervous system's specific needs, your own inside view of what's actually been happening. Bring your quiz results, bring what landed today, and bring whatever you've noticed this week about which jobs food has been doing for you. This is your raw material. Saturday, we start building something real from it.